Hey, what's up guys? How's it going? I know it's been a little while since I made my last video. Just been going through a lot of life stuff lately, but I'm excited to make another one for you here today. And even though I was pretty busy these past 2 months, I still found time to check out a lot of movies, so I'm excited to talk about those right now. What I'll do is go through every film I watched in May, talk about what I would rate each film, as well as give you a little bit of a plot synopsis in case you're unfamiliar with any of them. Alright, so first on our list we have D3, The Mighty Ducks. So if you recall my last list, I watched the first one and the second one, and I've got around to watching the third, of course, now. I like it more than I remember. It's funny how much there's things that cross over in these films for me, and I forget, like, oh yeah, this happened in this one, or that happened in the other one, etc., etc. But even though it definitely doesn't have the same stakes as the original films, it's still a very enjoyable movie. So, plot here. The unruly team of hockey misfits grows up a bit and receives scholarships to a prestigious prep school where they take on a snotty varsity team. Yeah, that about sums it up for you. But I saw this on Disney Plus, and I'd give it a good 3.5 at least. It's definitely a movie I'd watch again. Just for that nostalgia factor. Growing up with these films, they're always fun. Next we have Minari. I rewatched Minari for the second time in theaters, and I will have to say I enjoyed it even more. I definitely love this film. I'd give it a 4.5. Yeah, it's very simple plot here. A Korean family starts a farm in 1980s Arkansas. But if you haven't seen Minari, I did do a full review of it on my channel, and it's definitely a great film. If you were asking me what I would have liked to have won Best Picture last year, I would have picked Minari. There's something about it. It's such a well-made movie, and I really enjoyed all the characters, the performances, the humor. If you haven't seen it yet, definitely find time to watch it when you get a chance. The Sky Crawlers. Now this is an interesting one. This is a anime film from director Mamoru Oshii, who did the original Ghost in the Shell anime film. So let's see. The Children, a group of eternally young fighter pilots, experience the sudden loss of innocence as they battle the enemy in astonishing dogfights above the clouds. So that's a pretty good synopsis for this film. It's definitely one. It's very slow. At times I found myself getting a little bit bored. I was a little confused for a while. Once I read up on it, things were a bit more clear, made a bit more sense. Not my favorite Oshii film. It's a movie that I would probably give about 3.5. I'd watch it again, but it's not one I'd be like, dying to show anybody or go back and rewatch anytime soon. I did see the dub. If you think the Japanese with subtitles version is a lot better, please let me know. But yeah, for all you anime fans out there, this is a solid watch. Oh, now if we want to talk about a great anime film, one that I had a blast. I skipped ahead a little bit. This is the show Demon Slayer, or Kimetsu no Yaiba. So here's a little synopsis. A family is attacked by demons and only 2 members survive, Tanjiro and his sister Nezuko, who is turning into a demon slowly. Tanjiro sets out to become a demon slayer to avenge his family and cure his sister. So I watched this series. I'd seen the first episode a long time ago, and I heard good things. I knew it was a popular show, but I got really excited when the new film Demon Slayer Mugen Train was coming out. There was so much talk about it. It was breaking every record imaginable, and so I wanted to get ready and see that film. I also had read that you need to have seen the full series first before watching that film, and I completely agree. The film feels like an extended, almost nearly 2-hour episode of the show. Anyway, this is a fantastic show. I really enjoy it. Some of the characters I'm not that fond of. I did switch between going English dub versus the sub because of some of the voices bothering me midway through the season, but this is a very enjoyable show. I think the thing that it does the best is with its fight sequences, and the animation is gorgeous. So highly recommend it. It's on Netflix, Funimation, I think even Hulu. Number of places that you can get if you have a subscription to it. And let's see what we got next. Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. Alright, you guys, I'll be honest. I liked this film a lot more than I was expecting to. I'd probably give it a 4 out of 5. As a fan of the original film, having that nostalgia, Robin Williams, there's a lot about that movie that I really enjoyed. So going into this one, which here we have four teenagers are sucked into a magical video game, and the only way they can escape is to work together to finish the game. So, that is a good synopsis of the film, but I'd say even that part about the video game, that going into the movie, I was a little apprehensive because I know that the original Jumanji is a board game. But I gotta say, I'm glad I saw this film when I did. I think if I had seen it when it first came out, maybe I would have been, I don't know, maybe I wouldn't have given as much of a chance. But since the hype has kind of died down, it's been a few years, I saw it by myself. I don't know, something about it I just really enjoyed. It's really funny. The characters, the cast have great chemistry on screen. I enjoyed pretty much everyone in their role. It was just a surprisingly charming film that I would definitely recommend, especially if you're like me and you just have been kind of apprehensive to watch it. So yeah, definitely check that one out when you get a chance. I would really recommend seeing it on 4K, which is how I saw it. Amélie. This is a now 20-year-old French film that won Best International Feature or Foreign Film at the time at the Academy Awards. This is a great movie. I'd probably give it a good 4.5 out of 5. I would say I love this film. It's a good rom-com. Amélie is an innocent and naive girl in Paris with her own sense of justice. She decides to help those around her and along the way discovers love. So yeah, this is a very touching movie. I really like how it's put together. I like the humor. It is a film that you watch in the original French language. That's the best way to see it with subtitles. If you don't speak French like myself. But yes, I would definitely recommend checking this film out if you've never seen it. It is a blast. It's just a really fun movie, and very funny, and it has a lot of heart to it. It's a movie that I am very much looking forward to seeing again someday. And I think I've always watched it by myself, but this definitely seems like a good movie to watch with a friend or your significant other or somebody. It's a fun movie to watch with someone else, I think. What do we got next? Slumdog Millionaire, this is a Best Picture winner, but when this film came out, I loved it. I bought it, I think, on DVD, and now I own it on Blu-ray and digital. This is another, 4.5 out of 5. I love this movie. It still holds up to me. The story, something about it, still really enjoyable. Mumbai teenager reflects on his life after being accused of cheating on the Indian version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I also think Who Wants to Be a Millionaire might be like my favorite game show that's ever been made too. So I just enjoy the music, the drama aspect of it. But this whole movie is just a fantastic, tense. It pretty much gives you everything. It's thrilling. It's horrific at times. It's funny. It's got really interesting characters, and just the entire concept behind it I thought was really brilliant when it came out. And I love Dev Patel. I've seen him in Skins and all sorts of things now. He's gone on to do a lot more ever since this movie. If you've never seen Slumdog Millionaire, highly recommend it. Let's see. Okay, Jumanji: The Next Level. So I will say this movie, I did like it. I had some problems with it. It wasn't quite what I was hoping it would be compared to the previous film. I think it was a little too much rinse and repeat. But there were also certain things about it that didn't gel well with me. I think hearing some of the characters kind of try to do impersonations of famous people, like for example, we have The Rock. He tries to do his own impression of Danny DeVito for a while, and sometimes it works and a lot of times it doesn't. But anyway, so Jumanji: The Next Level. So in this film, the gang is back, but the game has changed. As they return to rescue one of their own, the players will have to brave parts unknown from arid deserts to snowy mountains to escape the world's most dangerous game. So it's very similar to the last one, but like I said, there's some surprising moments. I honestly think if the first third of this movie was done a bit better, the second and the third act kind of save it for me. Definitely the third act. So if you haven't seen this one yet, I do recommend it and checking it out in 4K. West Side Story. This is a classic musical, one of my favorites, definitely within my top 5 musicals of all time. I definitely have like a connection to this film. It's, I think, my mom's favorite film. She has a story, behind it, and so I've always enjoyed this. So two youngsters from rival New York gangs fall in love, but tensions between their respective friends build towards tragedy. This is another 4.5 out of 5 for me. It's just a really well-made film. I love this. I love the score. So many iconic songs. and good quotes. And one thing that continues to impress me every time I watch this is I notice the athleticism and just the sheer talent on screen is amazing. These actors really knew how to do some incredible stuff, and I'm really excited to see how Steven Spielberg does the remake, especially because the trailer looks pretty promising. But I don't think it's going to top the original. I just don't. But we will see. So definitely, if you haven't seen this, you enjoy musicals, gotta give West Side Story a try. Okay, we talked about the show. Now it's time for Mugen Train. So I did see this film in theaters with some friends. I had a blast. I loved it. It was a good 4.5 out of 5. Very surprisingly heartfelt and emotional. There's a lot to it. You know, I went into it with very high expectations, hearing everything I did about it. So let's see. After his family was brutally murdered and his sister turned into a demon, Tanjiro Kamado's journey as a demon slayer began. Tanjiro and his comrades embark on a new mission aboard the Mugen Train on a track to despair. So yeah, you know, if you haven't watched the show, this movie's probably not for you, but I definitely recommend starting there. But it's a fantastic anime film. I think it should have been nominated for Best Animated Feature. You know, we didn't have a single anime film this year nominated. If I had to pick one, I would definitely go with this one. Again, it's still playing in theaters, guys. It's gonna break, I think, the final record for highest grossing anime film of all time. It's right up there if it hasn't already done it. So definitely check it out. Moonlight, a Best Picture winner. Another one. I've watched quite a few. I'm really happy to say I finally watched this film. I don't know why I was putting it off for so long. It just never quite got there for me, but I'm really glad that I decided to check it out because it is a fantastic movie. A good 4.5 out of 5 for me. I really, really enjoyed it. I like the structure to it. There were a lot of things about it that surprised me and I wasn't expecting. But yes, so we have a young African-American man grapples with his identity and sexuality while experiencing the everyday struggles of childhood, adolescence, and burgeoning adulthood. I like the fact that we see this character grow in 3 different aspects of his life. I think it's like every 7 years, around there, we see different parts of his life. Amazing performances just all around. Everyone does a fantastic job at visual storytelling, visual acting. There are times where there's a lot of quiet, not so much dialogue heavy scenes, but go watch Moonlight. It was fantastic. I recommend seeing it on either Blu-ray 4K. I believe it's on Netflix too. Wings of Honnêamise. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that, but this is also known as Royal Space Force. This is a pretty classic 80s anime film, kind of under the radar, more of a hidden gem, I'd say. In an alternate Earth, a young astronaut participates in a controversial fledgling space program. So yeah, this film was a movie that I really wish I liked more. It has everything I want in an anime film. It has great animation, pretty interesting characters and plot, but honestly, I have a hard time staying awake for it. I wish it was a little bit shorter, maybe around an hour and 45 minutes. It kind of drags a bit for me. It's just, at times it's a little bit boring, and I've tried to watch it at least 2 or 3 times now, but every single time I just find myself wanting to fall asleep at some point. I can't help it. So it's a good movie if you want to, get ready for bed. But no, I think a lot of people really like this film. Consider it a staple, and I do enjoy it. It's a good 3.5 out of 5 for me. I'd watch it again, but it's not one of my top anime films by far. It's not as gripping as I want it to be, but to each their own. All right, so we got Moonstruck. This was an older 80s film as well, however not an animated film, starring Cher and Nicolas Cage. So Loretta Castoroni, a bookkeeper from Brooklyn, New York, finds herself in a difficult situation when she falls for the brother of the man she has agreed to marry. So this is a very silly film, a very enjoyable film, very Italian film. I really enjoyed the performances. It's a very, silly and, charming movie, but good rom-com with little drama. But it's a fun movie. I wouldn't I'd probably give it a 3.5 or a 4. It's not a movie I'm dying to go see again, but I'd gladly put, if it was on TV and I was just scrolling through channels and I just wanted something to watch. It's a fun one. So, yeah, I'm sure a lot of you know about this movie and have seen it. Those Who Wish Me Dead. This is that new film with Angelina Jolie and a number of other actors out there. We have a teenage murder witness finds himself pursued by twin assassins in the Montana wilderness, with a survival expert tasked with protecting him, and a forest fire threatening to consume them all. I will say this film was a bit disappointing for me. I'd honestly probably give it a 3. I don't have any interest in seeing it again. There was a lot of things unanswered. Some good performances, but I just felt like I wanted more. I saw it on HBO Max. Maybe I would have liked it more if I saw it in theater. I didn't think the quality was all that great for some reason. Sometimes I really don't have the best of luck with watching things on HBO Max. But yeah, it could have been better. I'd recommend watching it, at least once. See what you think. The Mauritanian. This film, I'm surprised. It was a lot of there was some awards talk. Jodie Foster won the Golden Globe for, I think, Best Supporting Actress, but it got no nominations at the Oscars. I don't know why. I really enjoyed this, based on a true story. Really tense thriller with really great performances. Mohamedou Ould Slahi fights for freedom after being detained, imprisoned without charge by the U.S. government for years. So very much kind of about someone who was just wronged for so many years, and there's sheds light on something a terrible situation that so many people have been through. And yeah, just a really interesting movie. I don't understand why it has some detractors, or why it just didn't get as much recognition as I feel it should have. I definitely would give it a good, at least a 4.5 out of 5. Or sorry, at least a 4 out of 5. So definitely recommend that one if you get a chance. Welcome to the Space Show. This is another anime film that I watched this year. This one, so let's see, a tiny mountain, that's really long. A tiny mountain village in a remote woodland region. 5 primary school kids have come together in this idyllic spot in order to spend their summer holidays at camp. I won't read all that, but this film was a bit slow. I liked, there's a lot of interesting characters and character designs. Very imaginative. I think the closest this might sound like high praise, but the closest it reminds me of is something like Spirited Away, just as far as the imagination aspect. But as far as like quality film, Spirited Away is far above and beyond this to me. I did enjoy it, but not an anime film I'd give it a solid 3.5. I don't know if it's one I'd really care to watch or show anybody, but too often or anything like that. But yeah, a fun movie. Just you see this family go throughout different adventures in space trying to solve this problem that they have. But yeah, a unique film that I think I will probably like more after I've seen it again. So yeah, take that for for what you will. State of Play. This is a very interesting thriller film with Russell Crowe, a number of other people. When a congressional aide is killed, a Washington, D.C. journalist starts investigating the case involving the representative, his old college friend. So this is a film by the same director, Kevin McDonald, of The Mauritanian. So I watched these 2 of his films back to back, which I really enjoyed. I do like The Mauritanian a little bit better. Maybe it's because I watched that first and that gave me a better feel for his direction style. But I did enjoy this film. It's a solid, 3.5 or 4 out of 5 stars for sure. It's just not, I think maybe this side of politics isn't as fascinating and isn't as interesting to me. Maybe I didn't understand some of the backstory, a lot of the things going on during the time this was made in 2009, because it definitely focuses on a lot of the issues that were happening around then. So some people might resonate with a lot more, but definitely a well-made film, and I do recommend checking it out. Invincible. This is a very good, surprising comic book series show that is on Amazon Prime. So let's see if I can get a good synopsis here. An adult animated series based on the Skybound / Image comic about a teenager whose father is the most powerful superhero on the planet. So that doesn't tell you too much, but honestly, this is one of those shows that just watch that first episode, and you will know everything you need to know. You'll know right away whether you want to keep watching or whether it's not for you. Just trust me on this. It is a really well-made show. I really liked it a lot more than I was expecting. I'm not a big fan of some of the older kind of traditional cartoon style animated shows. Like, I do like that it looks, say, like a Justice League. I just don't watch a lot of those for whatever reason. Doesn't mean I don't like them though. I don't really rank shows too often, but I'd probably give this a good 4.5 out of 5. Oxygen. This was a really well done thriller on Netflix from the director of Crawl. A woman wakes up in a cryogenic chamber with no recollection of how she got there. As she's running out of oxygen, she must rebuild her memory to find a way out of her nightmare. So yeah, whoops, I didn't mean to click an ad. This is a really well done thriller. It's one of those like one setting, pretty much one act, one person on screen the entire time kind of a film. And I do like those. I like that kind of like more claustrophobicness sometimes, but I also just like movies that put you in that state because you really start to feel like you're there. But yeah, if you're just looking for a really entertaining and interesting kind of futuristic thriller with some pretty great visuals and other things to it, definitely check this one out. Alright, I'm about to break the first rule of this movie, which is that you don't talk about it. Fight Club, classic film. Let's see what I can say. An insomniac office worker and a devil-may-care soap maker form an underground fight club that evolves into much more. What can you say about Fight Club? This is just a movie that I think over time has really garnered so much praise, and a lot of people consider it one of the best films ever made. I don't know if I'd go that far, but I do really enjoy it. It's one of those movies that, you see it once and then you can go back and watch it again and see it in a completely different light. And that is always something I really enjoy. And I have only seen it like 2, maybe 3 times, but I always forget that aspect because generally I wait a while until I see it again. But now I'm kind of at that point where I've enjoyed it every time I've seen it, and now I feel like I really want to like watch it and then rewatch it pretty much right after just to get that double perspective. But I think it definitely helps when you kind of forget the twist or like forget the main thing that makes things take that centerfold. But anyway, go watch Fight Club, guys. If you've never seen Fight Club, fantastic film. Raya and the Last Dragon. I decided to wait and see this once it finally came out on physical media. I saw the Blu-ray. In a realm known as Kumandra, a reimagined Earth inhabited by an ancient civilization, a warrior named Raya is determined to find the last dragon. So I did enjoy this film. It was a surprising Disney animated film in that there are no songs, which was kind of weird, but I did like that. I like that it felt a little bit more adult in some aspects for a Disney film, but I thought it had great voice acting. It looks great. It looks gorgeous. I'd give it a good 3.5, maybe a 4. By the way, I definitely would give Fight Club a 4.5. I forgot about Oxygen if I didn't say anything about that, but I'd give that a solid good, probably a 4 actually. But anyway, Raya, I'd give probably about a 3.5 or 4. It's a film I think I'll like more on second viewing. I want to see it in kind of the best format possible, like in 4K. But the only thing about it is it just felt like there wasn't a big emotional attachment to the film for me, and that's probably why I just didn't resonate with me as much as I wanted to. But I think that'll change if I get the opportunity and see it again someday. So anyway, I'm sure a lot of you have seen this already or are planning to. Definitely check it out. Time of Eve. This is a very interesting anime film. So in a not too distant future, a young man's outlook on his home android begins to change after tracking the android's behavioral log to a mysterious cafe. So this was a really interesting kind of like possible future, world that we might live in, where we just have like human androids that look and act just like us as our maids or assistants, but it shows us a side of like what if they could think beyond that and want to live a different type of life, sort of angle. It's from the same director who did Patema Inverted. Another great anime film that I highly recommend. Both of these I think are very under the radar, like hidden gem anime movies. So anyway, I would highly recommend this one. It took me a few watches till I finally was like in the right mindset for it. But it's a solid, I want to say a solid 4 out of 5. Army of the Dead. This is a fun Netflix zombie film from Zack Snyder. I'm going to try to go through these last few ones quickly, guys, since I don't think I have much time left on my recording here. But so let's see. Following a zombie outbreak in Las Vegas, a group of mercenaries take the ultimate gamble, venturing into the quarantine zone to pull off the greatest heist ever attempted. So I will say this: I enjoyed the film for the first like 2/3, and I think the last third and things leading up to the ending, not that big on, but I enjoyed the cast. I like the characters. Some of the humor, some of the decisions they make, wasn't a big fan of. But this is probably a solid 3, maybe 3.5 for me. I might give it it might be a fun watch every now and then if I'm in the mood for that sort of thing. But yeah, go check that one out, you guys, on Netflix. The Mighty Ducks Game Changers. So we have the sequel series from the show. After failing to make the cut to join the now powerhouse Mighty Ducks junior hockey team, 12-year-old Evan's mother encourages him to form a new team of underdogs with help from Gordon Bombay, the Ducks' original coach. I thought this was a really fun, very enjoyable sequel to the original films, and I loved that they brought back some original characters and really tied it in. It felt like everything was part of the same universe. I feel like they did it well. I'm looking forward to seeing more. This was a 10-episode show, and I definitely want to see what they do next. So there you guys go. Let's see if I got one more. No, I got 2 more. The Conjuring. I rewatched The Conjuring for the second time after seeing it in theaters, I want to say. Paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren work to help a family terrorized by a dark presence in their farmhouse. I'm actually going to go see the new one, the third one, The Devil Made Me Do It, tomorrow. But anyway, I still really like The Conjuring. I think when I first saw it, I was a bit more blown away, and I think it feels a little dated, or just I'm not as into the fact that it's now like a universe. As I think just my opinion of it has, I'd still give it a 4.5 out of 5. I just don't love it. But James Wan, I love his films. I love the Warrens. That I love Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson as on screen. They have great chemistry. So I still have a lot of fun with this movie, as well as the sequel, Conjuring 2, which I'll talk about next month. So yes, there we go. Last but not least, A Quiet Place. I rewatched A Quiet Place. Here's a horror thriller film that I actually like even more now. I give this a solid 4.5 out of 5 this time around. In a post-apocalyptic world, a family is forced to live in silence while hiding from monsters with ultra-sensitive hearing. I've always loved the concept of this film. I think even though I knew what to expect this time around, I think I appreciated the journey more. I think the acting, especially, and the technical aspects of this film. It looks great. It's very well directed, great script, great characters, and just really great sound design and all sorts of stuff. I definitely love this film. Hey guys, so it looks like my camera stopped recording because I've been recording for way too long and I'm running out of space, I think. That, or I have some weird setting where it just shuts off after like 30 minutes, I'm not sure. But either way, I hope you enjoyed this video. I will try to make it a little shorter next time around, but I guess I just had a lot to say. Like I said, I haven't made a video in a while, so maybe I just have some good energy, and it's been a good week. So hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're going out and watching movies in the theater, and let me know what you've been watching lately. If you have been going to the theater, if you've been staying at home, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Send some recommendations my way, and let's chat more in the comments. As always, my name is Dylan, and if you love entertainment, subscribe to my channel while this video ends and send me a thumbs up before you go. Thanks for watching, and stay diligent.